I've been asked a few times for British Airways tier point ideas to reach a certain level before the Executive Club membership year ends next year on the 31st of March 2025. And this is something that I've recently had to do myself. Had to try and fit in a final flight to get me over the BA Executive Club Gold status finish line. So in this video, I'm going to share with you some of the ideas that I found so you can get yourself to the next BA status level, and I'm going to cost them out with some up-to-date costings. Hi, I'm Phil and I'm on a grey gap year. You may be wondering what happened, because I did plan out my tier point runs for April and May this year, and I detailed those plans in a video earlier this year in March. Well, of course, it all went a bit wrong when BA changed the Executive Club membership year end dates, and then it all went very wrong when I paused to consider my options. Translate, I dithered and delayed after sharing those plans in that video, and essentially some of the prices went up before I booked them, and that took the price over the £2 per tier point target, so I just ended up going back to the drawing board. I am going to do a quick bit of housekeeping before I dive into the flights that I found, things like what is the Executive Club, what are tier points, what's my thought process behind selecting these particular flights. But if you're an old hand at this and you just want to see what I've found, then please do use the chapters below so you can just sort of skip ahead. There will of course be an Excel spreadsheet at the end, and I'll leave you all a link in the description where you'll be able to download a copy of the Spreadsheet of Glory. The Executive Club is a badly named loyalty program for British Airways, but it is just a loyalty scheme. The Executive Club has two parts to it. Now, one part is the loyalty currency or loyalty points, and they're a bit like supermarket club card points, and they're called Avios. This video will not help you earn or spend Avios, but if you did come here looking to learn about Avios, then this video here, that will help you get started and help you with earning Avios. So this video is about the other part of the BA loyalty scheme, and that is status with BA. Status gets you all manner of goodies like access to lounges, additional baggage allowance, seat selection for you and everyone on your booking, and that can be at the time of booking. You get to skip that pesky economy check-in line by using business class check-in, and at Heathrow Terminal 5, if you're gold status, you get to use the first wing first class check-in. You get status by earning tier points, and you get tier points by flying with British Airways and their oneworld partners, but you have to fly to get the points. As a quick reminder, you need 300 points to get bronze status, although there aren't many perks for hitting bronze, so most people are aiming for silver and gold status. You need 600 points to get silver and 1,500 points to achieve British Airways gold status. And one last thing in this video is the membership year, which runs from the 1st of April to the 31st of March, and when the new year starts, everyone's tier points reset back to 0. So if you're at the end of the year, you need 40 points for gold, then if you don't get them, you are stuck on silver and you have to start all over again on the 1st of April. And that's what this video is really about. It's about helping you find that last flight to hit your next status level before the end of the membership year. Now, I think that's enough about status and the Executive Club for this video. If you do need more details, a better explanation of status with British Airways and the Executive Club, then this video here will give you all the details you need. These ideas that I'm sharing today are a bit different from the previous videos I've made on getting status with BA, mainly because they're not designed to give you a pathway to status from 0 tier points to either silver or gold status. Rather, they're just for getting you from where you are on your status journey today to the next status level before the end of the membership year. So you could be watching this video and you need 80 tier points to get silver, or you might want 850 tier points to hit gold. So these ideas are going to be simple to book, close to home for me, which is the UK, and are variable price points. Not every idea is going to yield tier points for under £2 per point. Now that's because if you just need 80 tier points for silver before you land back to 0 points on the 1st of April, you may well feel that paying over the £2 per tier point is worthwhile if it gets you all those juicy silver benefits. The first group of ideas I'm going to look at is going to be short haul plus destinations from BA's hub in London and from other UK airports that BA fly from. So I'm going to briefly talk about short haul plus and why you want to fly from a UK regional airport. When we're talking about tier points, two things matter: the distance to the destination and the cabin you're flying in. There are exceptions to this, but flights over 2,000 miles are generally considered long haul, and earn 140 tier points in business class. Flights under 2,000 miles are generally considered short haul and earn 40 tier points each way in business class. But there is another group of destinations that BA designates short haul plus. These destinations earn 80 tier points each way. Some of them are over 2,000 miles, but they still only earn 80 tier points. Now, there are other oddities in there. One of them is Catania in Sicily, which is short haul plus and earns 80 tier points each way, but Palermo in Sicily is short haul and earns 40 tier points. So there's no real rhyme or reason to what makes a destination short haul plus. There's just a list and we follow the list. And why am I talking about business class and not other classes of travel? Well, remember that BA status has nothing to do with money spent. So our job as status hunters is to find sweet spots that offer great value fares for the tier points earned. And these short haul plus destinations in business class can do exactly that. I haven't yet seen an economy fare that offers £2 per tier point. But if you know different, pop it in the comments because I would love to hear from you. So the next thing to talk about is segments. And that's because if I fly to Bucharest from London, that is a single flight or a single segment, and I earn 80 tier points. If I fly from Manchester to Bucharest with BA in business, I will have to fly via London Heathrow. So I'll be making 2 flights or I'll be flying 2 segments, and each segment earns their own tier points. So Manchester to London earns 40 tier points and London to Bucharest earns 80 tier points, total of 120 tier points each way, which is a 50% increase in tier points by flying from, say, Manchester. And you don't usually have a 50% increase in fare, so it generally improves our efficiency. And now we move on to making this extremely juicy by utilising the British Airways double tier points offer. With this offer, if you make your flight a holiday by adding 5 nights car hire and or a 5-night hotel stay with your booking at the time of booking, then you'll earn double the usual tier points. So from a UK domestic terminal like Manchester to a short haul plus destination, you'll earn 120 tier points each way, which gives you 240 tier points on a round trip. Then you double it up through the offer and you get 480 tier points for one 5-night holiday. And on top of that, you're actually going to get a nice 5-night holiday. There are some fairly comprehensive terms and conditions. For example, the booking must be made by a UK resident. It must originate and end in the UK. It has to be British Airways flights or BA code shares. And in accordance with the terms and conditions, you have to use the car hire or hotel. And there are other terms and conditions, and they've been updated a few times during the course of the offer. And you should really have a read through them. They're quite straightforward. I'll leave you a link in the description. How I go about finding holidays that might offer value is I start on Google Flights and then I look for flights from London to anywhere with either One World Airlines or just with BA. And I'm going to stay flexible on dates, and in this instance I'm going to look for 1-week flights in January. I'm just going to zero in on those destinations that are short haul plus destinations, and from London I'm looking for prices of ideally £450 or less for a return in business class. So as I dash around the map, I'm just going to start with Helsinki, then I'm going to go across to Reykjavik, which actually surprisingly does have flights within my price range. So I'm going to click on Reykjavik on the map, and then I'm going to click on view flights here to the left, which opens those flights up in a new window. Now I'm not going to do anything with that just yet. I'm going to keep moving around the map. Now, down at the Canaries, Fuerteventura has an outside chance of offering some value, as does Marrakesh and Agadir. It all depends on how much the hotels come in at. And then I'm going to move over to the east where the real value usually lies. And you can see that Bucharest and Tirana both look like they're going to offer brilliant value. Sofia, Istanbul and Athens also seem to be offering a sniff. So I'm clicking on each of these destinations, then clicking on view flights, which is going to open up some flights in some new browser tabs. So I've got my destination. What next? Well, I'm going to zero in on specific dates that offer the best prices, and I'm also going to look to see if I can fly from a regional airport. Now, if I want to fly from a regional airport, then the flight from London needs 2 things. And the first one is it has to go through Heathrow, and then it also needs to leave late enough from Heathrow so I'm able to get there from a regional airport in time to connect. So taking the Reykjavik flight, it's from Heathrow, but it leaves at 7:30 in the morning, which means means when I put in a regional airport, I'm going to then end up with an overnight stay in London to make that 7:30 a.m. flight. Now, some people would just sleep at the airport, right, to save money, but I'm just a bit too long in the tooth for these kinds of shenanigans, so I'm going to add in the cost of a hotel unless I have access to a lounge with a comfortable place to sleep. However, if you live near Heathrow, you might find it's feasible just to go home to sleep and then come back the next morning, but I'm just going to look at these flights to Reykjavik from London only, and I'm not going to consider a flight from any of the regional airports. The first thing is I'm going to set the date parameter to 5-day trips, so I can zero in on the dates that have the cheapest flights in the date picker. And just from looking at those dates, I'm going to pick the 4th to the 9th of March. So with my dates in hand now, I can just go and have a look at the BA website. A quick change to sort hotels to show the lowest prices first, and the cheapest hotel is £861 for me as a solo traveller, and that would earn me 320 tier points from London, so well over my £2 per tier point target. But you might well get a better price if you're travelling with a friend or a partner. Now, if I pick 5 days car hire instead of hotel, it does come in under my £2 per tier point threshold, but I'd still have to find somewhere to sleep in Iceland in the depths of winter because the average daily high is 3 degrees Celsius. So that isn't going to work for me, but if you've always wanted to travel to Iceland, you need about 300 points to get your next status level, then that may well work for you. I'll do one more example before I give you the list of BA holidays I've found, and this is going to be one that does connect through Heathrow both ways, and it's the one I picked. It's a 5-night holiday to Athens. There are 3 flights per day into Athens from Heathrow, so we're going to be able to connect to a regional airport without needing an overnight stay. So now it's a case of rotating just through the regional airports, seeing which regional airport is going to work best for you, because you will have to start at the airport you pick. So your regional airport options are Belfast, Glasgow, Edinburgh, Inverness, Aberdeen, Newcastle, Manchester, and for the purposes of the double tier points offer, Jersey is considered starting in the UK. So I'm flying from Newcastle, that's still one of the cheaper airports, so I'll complete my example with that, and just going through the dates, I can see the 30th of January to the 40th of February has flights from £587 if I pick a nicer flight that doesn't get me in at midnight. Now I'll plug those into the BA Holidays website, and I've got prices from £807 or £896 if I pick some better flights that don't leave me with overnights in London or landing in Athens in the middle of the night. Now I've also picked a different hotel, and in this case those changes have pushed the price over £2 per tier point. But changing the dates might reduce the price for those better flights. Tirana would work out cheaper, but if Athens is on your bucket list and Tirana isn't, just go to Athens. And incidentally, I'm going to be sharing my future plans with my patrons over on Patreon. So come and join me there, and you can come and join me at the airport or even in Athens. So here are the deals that I found between now and the end of March. And Istanbul is offering great value from a few regional airports. And these flights from Glasgow were nice flights with lots of hotel options around the Istanbul Old Town. If you want to take a short holiday in Tirana, then you could either stay in the city itself, or you could hire a car, perhaps drive the 30 minutes or so to Jerez on the coast, with average daily highs of 14 degrees in January. Well, it's not hot, but it is nice and mild, so it is a nice place to spend a few days relaxing. Now, one of my favourite places that I've ever visited was Bucharest, and although it's going to be cold in February, there are lots of bars and restaurants where you can enjoy great food at very reasonable prices. And I can recommend the Hilton Garden Inn for both the hotel itself and its location. And finally, some winter sun options in Agadir and Marrakesh in Morocco. Although none of these options came in under £2 per tier point, if you enjoy a winter sun break anyway, then you can get yourself some tier points and some sunshine while you're there. I do just want to end this section with a friendly warning, and that's if your flight is cancelled for any reason or you can't fly, then you don't get the tier points. So if the weather cancels your flights and your holiday, you would get a refund, but you wouldn't get the tier points. And your flights will need to be completed before the end of March. If you fly out in March but back in April, your return flight will count towards next year's membership. So just watch out for that if that's not what you want. The next super simple idea is to top up your tier points with some quick UK flights, and I'm going to be topping up my tier points by flying to Newcastle from London. We're ready to take that Newcastle to Athens trip. Now I know this sounds like one of the dumbest things you ever heard of, and I'm not a fan of taking flights purely for tier points, but I think if you're trying to hit a status level, time's against you and those 80 points are going to get you over the line, then you just do what you got to do. And again, a really quick way to find cheap destinations is to use Google Flights. Now I'm searching on London to anywhere non-stop with BA. Ideally, you don't want to be stranded in a faraway location paying hotel bills, so same day flights are ideal. One night can be cost effective, but anything over one night, and it's probably cheaper just to pay the premium for a one-day trip. If you need more tier points, you can nest your flights, and I talk about back-to-back and nesting flights in this video here. So moving away from BA ideas, and this is a great idea if you need a larger chunk of tier points and you don't have too long to do it in. You can actually break this down into smaller chunks if you need less tier points, or you can add in extra nights at the destinations if you want to make this a longer holiday. So for this tier point run, you start in London and you fly to Stockholm with Finnair. This means that you'll fly via the Finnair hub in Helsinki, and you'll earn 80 tier points to Helsinki and then 40 tier points when you fly on to Stockholm. Now that will actually be more than £2 per tier point, but you will be positioned ready for phase 2, which is from Stockholm either to Malaga or Lisbon. And this time you'll earn 40 tier points flying from Stockholm to Helsinki, but then you'll earn 140 tier points when you fly from Helsinki to either Malaga or Lisbon. Malaga is the slightly cheaper of the two destinations, and you can earn 360 tier points for £575. If you do the full run from London with a single trip to Malaga, you'll earn 600 tier points, and the price per tier point comes out about £1.92 per point. Now you may need different amounts of tier points, so perhaps you could just take a cheap flight to Stockholm to get yourself positioned for the 360 points you need, or you could do the Malaga or Lisbon run. You could do one of them twice, or you could do them both if you need more than 700 points to hit gold. And my final run idea is another simple and easy to book flight to a sunny destination, which, as Peter Kay would say, is Egypt. Now, if you fly from London to Cairo with British Airways, you'll earn 80 tier points, because even though it's over 2,000 miles, the lovely people at BA have designated this as short haul plus. So tier point bargain hunters like us, well, we're unlikely to get the pound per tier point value we're looking for flying to Cairo with BA. However, another One World airline also flies to Cairo, and that's Iberia, and they're based in Madrid. Now, what makes this routing so juicy is Cairo is over 2,000 miles from Madrid, and Iberia class this as long distance, so you earn 140 tier points on that leg. So if you're in Madrid, you can earn 280 tier points per round trip for a bit over £506, which is £1.81 per tier point. If you start in London, you'll earn an extra 40 tier points each way between London and Madrid, but it will cost you £880, so the price per tier point goes over my £2 per tier point target at £2.44 per tier point. But there's another sweet spot, and that is flying from Dublin. If you fly from Dublin to Cairo via Madrid with Iberia, you'll earn 360 tier points at £681 at a cost of £1.89 per tier point. You have to get to Dublin, of course, which might require an additional flight into Dublin, and depending on how many tier points you're short of, you could take a super cheap budget airline flight, or you could take a BA Club Europe flight. That might be worth the extra money. Spreadsheet of Glory, it's for you. And so to the Spreadsheet of Glory with all the different flights and holidays that I found. If you need a little longer to see what's on the screen, you can just pause the video, and I will put a link in the description where you can download this spreadsheet from if you would like to. These are all simple to book. They're all sort of designed for people starting in the UK, but not necessarily from London, and they have different amounts of tier points and price points. So hopefully you'll be able to find a flight that works for you, or a holiday that works for you, and get the status level you want before the end of this membership year. If this video has been helpful, then please click the thumbs up and give it a like. It helps other people to find the video, and they may also find it useful. And do please consider subscribing, click the bell, and then you'll get notifications when my next video is released. So all that's left to say is thank you for watching and joining me on Grey Gap Year.